Right, let's now bring into the conversation the director of South African Energy Forum, Mr. Zak Madela, who joins us now via Zoom. A very good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on SABC News, sir.
Good afternoon, Flo. I'm listening, and good afternoon to you and your listeners. It's quite baffling what I've just listened to.
Yeah, and I mean,
makes me be very angry.
You would have heard a mouthful of allegations that are relating to the ANC's, interference in the running of Eskom coming out, of the outgoing CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter. What do you make, of these developments? In fact, some energy experts saying that he's speaking now because, he underestimated his own challenges that were in front of him at Eskom. What do you make of this whole situation?
No, I think Andre de Ruyter is diverting all of us and is really, is making us feel sorry for him. Andre de Ruyter failed on his job. The ANC wasn't going to wait for him to be the CEO and only then be corrupt with Eskom. In fact, if anything at all, the ANC has been very much scared now to do the corruption like it used to be before the arrival of Andre de Ruyter. Andre de Ruyter failed. He's looking for public sympathy. Unfortunately, we can't give that to him. And he even talks about somebody told him this, and he doesn't have the evidence of his own as a CEO. Where did the money go? What money went there somewhere that wasn't supposed to go somewhere? And why doesn't he take those things to God? Now he's derailing us. Instead of looking for a replacement, we must talk about his rumors. I mean, it's quite mad, this man. He knows where the police station is. He's been chasing the drivers and wanting to arrest the drivers. Now, when he gets told by the politician, he doesn't know, he doesn't ask what contract it was, he doesn't ask his people to look at all the contracts that are linked to the ANC and take them to the police station, and now he's telling us stories. We don't have time for Andre de Ruyter stories. He must go.
Yeah. All right. In terms of the timing, there's been questions, asked about, why now? Why speak out now? I mean, a very bizarre allegation he made, we don't know whether it's true or not, of 70,000 rand being paid for a pair of 350 rand knee guards, for example. The fact that he's speaking now, at a time that he's actually resigned, what do you think of that? Why didn't these things come out before? Perhaps they would have shed light on the difficulties in being at the helm of Eskom.
Well, let me put it this way to you, Flo. We've been very, very hard at work, very, very hard. We're wanting to arrest Andre de Ruyter. We're wanting Andre de Ruyter to be charged with treason. There's all the evidence that Andre de Ruyter is chargeable. He can actually be arrested and be tried for messing up with the economy of the country. So the question of why now, Andre de Ruyter wants to go overseas. He wants a reason to escape the country and then say to the people he needs to be protected, not to come to South Africa because his life is at risk. He's talking rubbish, Andre de Ruyter. Andre de Ruyter is looking for people to support his project to escape the country instead of accounting. And we're not going to take it. We're going to go and lay the charges. And if he can't answer those questions, Pravin Gordhan must answer for him. And we must pull him up wherever he's going to go in the hideout and bring him here to South Africa. So
you'll have to explain. You'll have to explain this this charge of treason that you speak of. This possible charge of treason based on what exactly, sir?
Based on the fact that we are currently at 24 megawatts, the system has got 49,000 megawatts, and it should be able to discharge about 32 when the economy is demanding 29. He's taken that to 24, and the reason why we are at 24,000 is because every unit that breaks down, Andre de Ruyter doesn't finance it. He has been refusing to finance the Eskom coal power station units that have been breaking down, or some of them that are just due for an ordinary maintenance. He completely refused throughout that 3-year term of his. He never funded any of these things. He is the one who brought us here because of his attitude. He's been hanging around with the unreliable renewable wind and solar IPPs, which don't work in any other country, and he wanted to force that to work here. So he has sabotaged his economy, and now he's hiding behind stories. We must charge him with treason to say to him, we've got the history of the units, we've got the evidence of all the units, we've got the evidence of your attitude on the job. You've crippled this economy. You've made people die in the hospital, subjecting this country into multiple load sheddings unnecessarily. There was no load shedding. There was no this type of rampant load shedding before he arrived. We're going to arrest load shedding now that he's gone. We will show under the radar that this is a man who came precisely to destroy Eskom and make as if these problems cannot be solved. So he must go. We need to sort out Eskom. We will get Eskom back if Ramaphosa and the president and the ministers give us an opportunity to get the right-minded people there. We are going to arrest the load shedding and demonstrate that
You're talking about getting the right-minded people there, and I think maybe this is where we can close our interview. I know I'm being told to wrap up at this point, but maybe that's where I need to ask this question. The problems at Eskom, are they indeed fixable? Especially when we are looking at the fact that there are allegations of political interference, whether it's being said by, the soon-to-be former CEO Andre de Ruyter, whether it's being said by the public, but, the perception is there that there is a problem and it is political interference. And so my question then is, are these problems of Eskom fixable, and how do we stop that possible interference, political interference?
The problems of Eskom are fixable. There's always been a political interference even prior to the ANC taking over the government. Ever since the ANC has come into government, there's been a political interference, but you had strong men and women who decided not to be sidetracked by the interference of politics. So the problems are fixable. We need someone who's strong enough who's going to ignore the politicians and focus on the job at hand and implement a technical and a commercial solutions. Politicians know no technical and no commercial solutions, and they are not inside the Eskom building. We need someone who's going to ignore the government and implement these two solutions.
All right. Thank you very much for giving us your time. So we appreciate it here on SABC News. Zak Madela, who's the director of the South African Energy Forum.